The 8th of May 1945 saw the end of nearly 6 years of continuous warfare across Europe. As millions of people quite naturally rejoiced at the German surrender, there were still many others suffering the most intolerable conditions, both fighting and simply attempting to stay alive in the most grotesque, inhumane conditions in the camps of the Far East. VJ Day would have to wait until August 1945. Many of us will have known men who fought in such places. Neville Foote in mainland Europe, John Virgo and Tommy Tong, who battled in and around the jungles of India, Burma and Sumatra. All of them had a personal price to pay, and soldiers, like Edward Nuttall, had wounds inflicted upon them as young men that they carried for the rest of their lives. There are very few people who are unable to trace a connection with members of the armed forces from the Second World War. The same is true of the plentiful numbers of civilians who became the collateral of its destructive carnage. The years 1939 to 1945 did not only bring warfare figuratively into people's front rooms. My own great-grandmother was killed in a doodlebug attack on the East End of London in 1945. And St Anne's and our own village of Tottington experienced the direct effect of aerial bombing on Christmas Eve 1944, action that killed many on Chapel Street and left the church in a ruinous state. The next day, the then vicar, Mr. Rogers, celebrated Holy Communion on the altar behind me in a building with no roof and all the windows blown out, except the one above the altar. The image of the crucified Christ standing defiantly against the wickedness and evil of those days. It is not oversimplistic to claim that every war finds its origin in a fundamental flaw in human nature. The history of the world is littered with the human debris left by a range of lunatics of all political philosophies and hues who have sought to control the world. Whether over the watering wells of the Old Testament or the oil-rich fields of the Soviet Union in 1941, the driven impulse of greed, control, ownership, and a gruesome desire to take what others have seems depressingly unchanging. On the north wall in this church, there is a granite plinth that refers to the men who left this quiet Lancashire village in their own generation to serve in conflicts and returned with a maturity of outlook and purpose. These were ordinary people from Tottington who did remarkable things, who endured extraordinary privations, so that victory might be secured over one more lunatic on that rather long list of despots. Armed conflicts remind us of the perpetual quest of powerful human forces to harness the energy and vitality of all that is around, seeking to command and control the world and the lives of men and women for its own selfish ends. But for the Christian, the assertion of humanity's control is an illusion, because the world belongs to God. It is his creation, and we who inhabit it are the temporary custodians of the remarkable beauty that he has made for us. In Psalm 24 we read that the earth is the Lord's and all that therein is. And when that penny drops, we will experience a sense of gratitude for God's extraordinary generosity. It seems to me that for many people, much of the ongoing, palpable global anxiety of the last few months has been the realisation of just how precarious and uncertain life truly is. And those who fought and suffered in World War II knew this only too well. However, the more we let God direct and steer our lives, giving to him the worrisome, stress-filled, fearful details of our lives, and abandoning the tendency to possessive control, our outlook will alter. Cardinal Archbishop Donald Nichol suggests that with realigned sights, a weight will be lifted from us and our hearts will grow lighter. When we look around on all that we are supposed to own and control and say to ourselves, not mine, just on temporary loan. And that includes my life and your life, for we are all held in the hand of God. So then, on this Sunday, let us give thanks for all who secured victory for us in 1945. Keep the faith, and as you pray for me, I shall surely pray for you.